The biggest danger to country riding is cutting the corner, and I made a mess of that corner. I went around like an Australian 50-cent piece. All these little angles, I just didn't make a smooth flowing job of it at all. It's Friday, thank goodness. Well, we've been on another country ride, about 250 kilometres, and that dreaded cutting the corner problem you get out on the country roads, and I just did it myself. And later on in this video, a four-wheel drive coming around the corner the other direction did it to me, but more of that later. The bike went all right, but there's a problem, and I'd only discovered it when I was out on the wide open sweeping corners. I'll explain. See, it doesn't even have a steering damper on it, and I've had a lot of trouble trying to set up the suspension of the TLR, and I thought I had loose steering head bearings, so I would tighten them up. But I've gone too far, so I backed them off a little bit, and I thought it was okay. And on the twisty, narrow gully type of road that I've been running up and down testing the suspension, the bike felt all right. But it wasn't until I got out onto the wide open country roads with big, gentle sweepers that I realised that the steering inputs were just all wrong. It would sort of go, you know, like not a flow. It was just a series of straight, turn, like that 50-cent piece. And it was really frustrating to hold a nice smooth line. So I got to back off the steering head bearings again, redo that, because it wasn't good at all. Constantly sort of overcorrecting as you do your counter steer. If I'm trying to explain it, it was not nice. It would be ideal, and I should do it, is actually lift the back wheel off the ground with a stand, and then lift from underneath the engine to get the weight completely off the steering head bearings. But I'd have to rig up something to do that. So that's going to be the next job on the TLR. But the suspension was okay in these settings for those country roads. The roads weren't too rough. So I was running very fast rebound and not a lot of compression front and rear, and it was okay. It was only until I get into the tight gully type of ride section that the suspension just cannot cope with that road. But then on this sort of road, it was okay, you know, not too bad. It was quite a pretty little country town. The buildings are like Art Deco, do they call it, at that era? That style in the main street, and it's a tiny, tiny little place. It's a big country, but a tiny town. And so it was nice. It was midweek, so it was as busy as it ever gets. If you go there on the weekends, there's nothing open. It's really quiet. And check out this four-wheel drive coming the other direction. we're just riding along, enjoying the scenery, beautiful hills, kind of a sweeping right hand corner, blind because of the tree line, and there's the farmer Brown in his four-wheel drive, just coming down the other direction in the middle of the road. It only takes a second, you know, like you've only got just a moment to react. And I was fairly good on my side of the road, but there's no markings down the centre. So he's over in the middle, just plodding along. And I had to change mid-corner, my entry mid-corner direction. So I didn't have to brake, but I did have to push and pull, you know, to steer around the car. So practice, guys, just practice. I didn't have to jump on the brakes, I didn't run onto the gravel, but I did have to take evasive action. So always keep your eyes up and looking where you're going, because it can just happen in a flash. I tell you, it's just, and then you've got to know what to do. So practice, guys, just change your lines mid-corner, just maybe an on-ramp or an off-ramp on a freeway or somewhere, you know, just somewhere where you can just move the bike from inside to outside or outside to inside. Yeah, okay? That was what was annoying me with the steering, because it just didn't feel as light as I'd like it. So that's my top tip. So now for my weekly show of riding and bikes on Friday. The ZX6R is coming along nicely. The clutch is in on the other side. It went together all right. Just trying to fit a genuine oil filter, but because Kawasaki wanted to be Kawasaki, my Suzuki oil filter tool doesn't fit, so I had to find the correct size socket type of thing for the Kawasaki oil filter. So I'm in business for that, and we'll get the oil filter in there. And there's actually an oil cooler behind the oil filter on these. They don't run a separate one down on the front of it like a radiator type. It's like a water-cooled oil cooler in there. So I thought that quite amazing. But it's coming together nice, and we'll just carry on with the oil and then the radiator coolant change. I've got free play on the clutch here, so there's no load on the plates whatsoever. So as soon as I get the coolant done and it buttoned up on the left hand side, I'll give it a start up and check the clutch, make sure that it's not, you know, dragging, and it should be good. And MotoGP's on tonight, because I'm a big fan of MotoGP, as you can tell. And guys, have a good weekend. Kevin's my name, KJ's Moto, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.